The morning sun shimmered through the canopy, gently kissing my warm lids. I stirred awake, stretching my limbs, feeling well rested for the first time in memory. Something heavy lay over my body, enshrouding me in a veil of warmth as I felt not even the slightest chill. I murmured to myself, bewildered, feeling wool beneath my fingers and embroidered gold against my wrists. It took a moment to recognize what I was looking at, but when I did it, left me stunned and uplifted from the further act of kindness. Alucard gave me an extra wool blanket for the night's cold, tucking me in before taking his silent leave. I pulled it closer to me, enclosing myself, practically sensing the good-hearted intention woven within in the fabric. I gingerly got out of bed, stepping first on my good foot before gently using my bandaged one. It slightly throbbed before I picked up my staff laying against the wall at my bedside. What's this? On the dresser lay fresh, clean clothes and a little parchment. I dressed into my new clothes, a light burgundy dress with sleeves, and opened up the parchment. It's a map. I observed, noticing the square with a bed scribbled in it and an arrow leading to the kitchen. Nice. He doesn't want me to get lost in a big place like this. Either that or he's making sure I don't wander off poking my nose into places I shouldn't. Can't forget my host is a vampire. I managed to find my way to the kitchen, following the map while walking with my staff. For such a huge castle, the kitchen was a small room. Maybe it was an add-on when Dracula took in his human wife. Can't imagine a creature living solely on blood would need a kitchen. Good morning. I cheerfully greeted Alucard, who was standing over a burning stove, tending a frying pan. Good morning, Alucard responded quietly. I assume you slept well. I did, I nodded. Better than I have in most nights. Thanks for the extra blanket. It was very cold last night. He didn't respond. And for the clothes and map. These really fit me well. I'm glad. My vampire host nodded. I wriggled my nose at the enticing smell sizzling in the frying pan. What's that? Our breakfast. He turned over the meat in the pan. I thought vampires didn't eat food. Full-blooded vampires can't. I am half vampire. I am able to digest human food. He turned off the stove and served our plates. My first breakfast in Castle Dracula was freshly baked bread with jam and delicious strips of meat he called bacon. I've never tasted anything so good in my life. I struggled to resist scarfing everything down like a starving dog, crunching into the bread in large chunks and chomping the amazing-tasting bacon. Slow down there, Alucard warned. If you eat too fast, you will upset your stomach. Give yourself a few moments for your stomach to comprehend the intake of food before having another bite. He smirked. My, I really did take in a stray dog. Hey, try losing your memory of everything and then eating the first delicious thing in your life. I quipped, taking another strip of bacon. No! My God, this is the tastiest thing I've ever tasted. What kind of meat is this? Human flesh of a too curious trespasser. I spat and choked, pounding my chest. Relax, I only jest. Alucard chuckled. Bacon comes from pork, though in this case from a wild boar I hunted myself. Sure, mocked the amnesiac. I smirked. I knew you were funny. I rubbed my belly when we were finished. That was good. I covered my mouth in a burp. I haven't felt full in days. Thank you so much. I feel so much better with actual food in my gut. I sniffed the boiling pot outside where more broth simmered beneath the cook fire. Can I have some more? Please. I don't want you vomiting up the good breakfast I prepared. After I helped him clean up, we sat at the table discussing what I should do next. You're fortunate to arrive at this place. The castle has a wellspring of knowledge in its library, and there's the Belmont family hold next door, though it's old, moldy, and most of its knowledge is about slaying creatures of the night. I wouldn't recommend starting there unless you believe yourself to be a lost Belmont or a monster hunter. Yeah, I doubt it, I remarked. Do I look like a monster hunter to you? Me being an angel is more believable. Belmont. I heard that name before. Could it possibly be related? Nah, doubt it. Too big of a coincidence. Who knows what your hidden memory might hold? Alucard said. Boss! We'll start at the library and see what we may find. Perhaps a key to your memory is hidden between the pages of a lost tome. I hope not. I said, optimistic. That means we'll have to search hard for it. The greatest achievements in life are the ones you work hard for, Alucard commented. Oh, you're a philosopher and a comedian. I laughed. I really like you. I really like you. Say, you think we'll find knowledge about bacon in there? I almost fell on the hard ground seeing how immense the entire library was. It could have been a castle in itself. Massive vaulted halls with books lined all the way up to the ceiling, stained glass windows shimmering in brilliant light and spread across the vast rooms. Grand tables I imagined could be sat on by a court of kings. So huge, I gawked, staring wide-eyed at the seemingly endless rows of books. So many books. I wanted to read them all, to soak in all the knowledge of the thousands of pages. I was ready to just dive in. What? I cocked my brow at Alucard, who watching me with laughing smile. Nothing. He quickly turned away, a tint of pink on his face. Somewhere in this library should be the key to your past. I hope so. I scratched my head, the immensity of the task dawning upon me. How am I going to find anything about my past among all these books? I don't even know where to start. Alucard placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder. We'll take it little by little, so... His voice was very calming, and we are in no rush. We've got all the time in the world. We sat on a couple of couches, the wide tables empty. It's not as an impossible task as you think. All we need is some help. A shadow loomed over us, and an eerie creature materialized before us. An ethereal, hooded being with black feathers and a protruding bird beak hovered close to me, staring at me with glowing yellow eyes as if expecting something. I jumped out of my seat and defensively seized my staff. The fuck is that? Do not fear. Alucard calmly reassured me. It is a bookkeeper, one of many. They tend to the library and will search out any books you ask for. Go on, ask it what you are looking for. I nervously looked at the macabre creature. I would like to find books about angels. It was the first thing that came to my head. The creature vanished into mist before reappearing with dozens of scrolls and old leather books laying orderly in on the table. Alucard sat at the table. Shall we begin? I took a seat next to him. Yes, challenge accepted. We spent what seemed like hours poring over the information on angels. There was tons of stuff. Mythology of angels, angelic hierarchy, prayers for certain guardian angels, offerings for angels, biblical scripts of angels appearing, and strangely enough, the entire divine comedy. Nothing rung a bell to me, not even the names of prominent celestial beings. Ugh, so much knowledge. I slumped my head on the table. Quite the tome of information, Alucard said, mildly intrigued. And nothing struck familiar to you? I gestured my face on the table. Does it look like it? Alucard chuckled. Cheer up. Do not give up hope. There are thousands of books in this library. Something among their pages might stir your memory. And what if doesn't? And I'm just a blank slate without a name. I rose my head up. Then you will have been given an opportunity many wish for but few ever receive, Alucard said. A chance to start anew, free of the troubles of your past. Yeah, that does sound nice. I sighed, feeling a bit more optimistic. What a place to start a new slate, huh? In a magic castle guarded by a fearsome but friendly vampire. Fearsome but friendly? Alucard cocked his head with a smile. I've never been called that before. You believe me to be friendly? Well, yeah, I remarked. You took me in while I was wet, injured, and scared for my life. You gave me food, a warm bath, clothes that fit, and a roof under my head. If that's not friendly, I don't know what is. Then I must be losing my edge. Alucard neared me, grinning. I am a vampire. Not only that, I'm the son of Dracula. I should strike fear into your heart. You're not scary. I neared him, smirking. Not to me. Not anymore. You did scare me when we met last night prowling around in the shadows. There was a moment where I thought it was the end of the line for me, and my hard journey was for nothing. Now I see it just might be the beginning. Alucard gave a look of nervous excitement. Indeed it may. He was fighting with himself, digging his claws into the table. You are welcome to stay as long as you may like. I only ask for you to let me know if you wish to leave, and to stay away from the western wing of the castle. Why? I asked. Is there something dangerous or forbidden in there? No, Alucard said quietly. Rather, there are things there I wish to spare your innocent eyes from. If you're afraid of me losing my innocent view on the world, you're too late. I've seen a lot. I lowered my head. But I'll respect your wishes and avoid that part of the castle. Thank you, Alucard responded softly, curling his fingers. Against my instincts, I trust you. I took his hand, undaunted by his claw-like nails that shrunk from my touch. I promise I will never break your trust, and I'll never betray you. I swear it on my life. Vampires are supposed to feel cold, but his hand felt warm in mine as he held it tenderly. Alucard? I turned my face away, struggling from my thoughts, and the strange stirring in my chest. If I ever recover my memory and it turns out the person I was wasn't very nice, will you still accept me? Will you like me for who I am now and not who I used to be? Of course I will, Alucard said to my relief. I promise. Thank you. I let go of his hand, feeling oddly warm from his touch. I was thinking, maybe instead of trying to find answers to my past, I can use this library to learn about the world around me. There's so much in here. Even if I never regain my memory, I could still learn a lot about the different places and people. I could even learn about stories. Who knows, maybe something will trigger a memory. I think that's a great idea, Alucard agreed. You are very smart. Thank you. I smiled with a blush. I think I'll ask the bookkeepers about the Mediterranean Sea. That seems like a beautiful place to visit one day. Would you like to stay with me? Alucard gave a genuine smile. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world. Time passed, and I began to feel at home in this vast, empty castle. At first, I didn't stray far from my bedroom or the close corridors leading to the kitchen and library, fearful of getting lost or straying into a place I wasn't supposed to be in. Once I felt comfortable of my surroundings, I started to venture further, making a mental map in my head of the castle. I was always cautious. I didn't want to offend or anger my host, who usually kept to himself. Turns out, Alucard wasn't the kind of host who was easily offended. He seemed to enjoy my company in a weirdly distant way, often watching me from afar and periodically checking up on me just to see if I was faring well. It's strange, he was the fearsome vampire lord, but I felt he was nervous around me instead of the other way around. Like, he was afraid of getting close to me. Off to the library again? Alucard asked in his low, smooth voice when we sat at the breakfast table one day. Yes, how did you figure that? You are there every day, Alucard observed. Tell me, you have a grand castle to explore at your footsteps, yet you resign yourself only to the library and a few close hallways. Why? This castle is huge. I explained. I'll get lost if I set off without knowing where I am, and... I paused, unsure if I should say this. I don't want to end up stumbling into a place I'm not allowed in. You are the most considerate guest I've had, Alucard remarked. I assure you there is no place forbidden. I have no hidden secrets or dark torture chambers, no enchanted roses even. The castle is yours to explore. The only place I advise you against again is my childhood bedroom, but only because I do not wish for you to be scarred. Okay, sounds like you do have secrets, or a kinky torture chamber. I joked. I assure you I do not. Alucard laughed before his face became melancholy. My bedroom is where I killed my father. No! I immediately reached for his hand. That is also where I was betrayed, and there is... evidence of that. Rage bubbled in my gut. Where are these traitors? I've been reading on how to use a knife. Oh, don't worry, Alucard chuckled. No need to avenge me. Those traitors were taken care of. He turned to me. There's a garden inside the castle courtyard. I think you will like it. Would you like me to show you? Sure, I answered happily. In all honesty, I was getting tired of seeing the same hallways and rooms again every day. With my staff in hand, I happily followed Alucard into one of the many large courtyards within the castle. I smell lavender. I wriggled my nose. And other herbs. You'd be correct. Alucard nodded, gesturing to the clusters of various plants and flowers. This is where my mother grew her medicinal plants. She would use them to make treatments to heal the surrounding villages. People used to come here? I gasped, amazed. No, they would come to her. She actually lived in a cottage in a town not overly far from here called Lupu and helped the people there. My father gave her a mirror she would use to come here and pick the plants she needed. She healed a lot of people and saved many lives. Does the mirror still work? An idea flashed in my eyes. No. Alucard responded to my disappointment. It was destroyed when they came and executed her. You're not missing out. You wouldn't want to go on a day trip there. There's nothing to see. The village is in ruins and its people slaughtered. It was one of the first places to fall under my father's rage. Why? I asked, pained. There must have been innocent women and children living there. They didn't kill Lisa. In a way, they did. Alucard responded dourly. They stood back and watched while the priests arrested her for execution. One of them could have taken a stand and said, enough, but none did. Not in her home village where she was arrested. Not in Tago Viste when she was about to be burned at the stake for crimes she didn't commit. My father lost any shred of hope for humanity when she was murdered. Anger flared in my heart. They were idiots for doing that. I clenched my knuckles. The big boss gave her a gift of knowledge and the willpower to use it to help people. He sent her to help them. And they destroyed her. He was furious about what happened there and told us not to intervene when Dracula's hordes laid waste to the village. Just like that, the memory vanished with my words. Oh, shit. I wrung my hair. I did it again. Why is it when I remember something it goes away? Jeez. Alucard touched my arm in a calm voice. At least your memory is trying to resurface. Perhaps there is hope you may regain it. He gave me an odd smile. Seems you were once a very important person, and you still are now. It just sucks. I groaned, sitting on the bench. Bits of it come back to me and fade away just when I'm trying to understand them. I understand, Alucard said in sympathy, taking a seat next to me. Do not let it frustrate you too much. A little is better than nothing. Oh no, I shrugged. Thanks for being patient with me. I leaned my head on his shoulder. It's nice not being alone anymore. Alucard flinched and his skin went warm, causing me to flinch away. My cheeks flushed. I should know better than to do that. The speakers are very touchy-feely. I shouldn't expect anyone else. It's all right. Alucard smiled warmly. You never have to apologize for wanting to be close to someone, especially after being alone. He gestured me to come closer, and I happily did, once again leaning against his shoulder. Tell me, what have you been reading in the library? Lots of things, I answered with a strange bliss. Mostly geography, the history of other countries. There's a specific place I've been reading much about that I would really love to see. Ah, and where is that? The city of Florence, I said wistfully, on the Italian peninsula. It's so beautiful there, and the city is full of scientists and sculptures and many brilliant minds. The people are learning to live in the future, without the medieval misery plaguing the rest of the continent. Florence is a marvelous city, Alucard agreed. My father once visited the rulers of the city one. Florence is a republic. It's not ruled by a king, rather a wealthy family. Oh, I know, I piped eagerly. Ja, the Medici. They sound like very interesting people. They're using their wealth and power to help their people. As any good rulers should, Alucard remarked. He made a pretty good impression on them. In fact, many of my mother's instruments were gifts from the Medici. I gazed at him astonished. I would love to visit Florence one day. Perhaps we shall, Alucard responded in optimism. You would come with me? I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I don't know why, but that made my face flush heated red. I immediately stood up and backed away, strangely embarrassed. Can you show me what each of these plants are for? I think it'd be good to learn how to make medicine. Of course. Alucard stood up and walked with me through the well-kept garden, pointing out the different plants and their medical uses. I was paying attention to him, but I was also trying to figure out the strange fluttering sensation in my gut. I hope it's something one of these herbs treat. Come. There is something else I want to show you. I followed Alucard into a gilded room full of scientific tools, books, a great telescope rising like a small tower, and a massive astrolabe floating above, showing the accurate representation of the solar system humans have yet to learn. Whoa! I gawked, amazed. I've never seen anything like this. What is this place? This is a laboratory for science and research, Alucard presented. It once belonged to my father, who bequeathed it to my mother. He stepped in front of me and bowed, stretching out his arm to the laboratory. And now it's yours. No way. I gasped. Alucard, I can't. I wouldn't know a thing to do here. You will in time. Alucard smiled with a glimmer in his gilded eyes. There are many books, and I trust you will not blow up the castle in curious experimentation. I see it in your eyes. These tools are not unfamiliar to you. You look upon them in disbelief that they are here, not of fearful unknown. I believe you are capable of preserving what I feared was lost. You think so much of me. I clutched my fist to my heart. I'll learn the ways of science and use its knowledge responsibly in time. I turned to him at loss for words, except for, thank you. It is my pleasure. Alucard lowered his head and nodded. His eyes caught something behind me as they glimmered with tears. She would have liked you. I turned around and noticed a portrait hanging on the opposite wall of the laboratory's former owner. I saw her in her son, but a strange part of my brain stirred in eerie recognition. I think she already does.